My name is Yuko. I'm an alcoholic. Bruce is responsible for me. Yeah, that's why I'm here. So if I don't do a good job, just blame him. And Tom, thank you so much. It's an honor and privilege to speak at an AA meeting. My sobriety date is November 20th, 1996. So I have 29 years, which is a miracle of this program. And thank you. What a treat to have my AA family here in the first row. So thanks to Zoom, and my sponsor is Marilyn S. So I have Sandy's my sister and our lineage family. So what a treat to have this kind of connection in AA. So because I'm an alcoholic, you guys, I don't connect. I just don't without alcohol. So, and congrats to all the chip takers and birthday people, Jeff, and I'm sorry, I just forgot everybody's name, but Scott and everybody, congratulations. And so I guess I will get into my story. Somebody, I think Anthony said, did you come all the way from Japan for this meeting? So yes, I did. No, well, I'm in Torrance now, but I was born and raised in Japan. So let me start with that. So I was born and raised in Japan, for real. And I'm a real Japanese. And Japan was my problem, really. So real quick, I'm the fourth of 5 children, 2 brothers and 2 sisters. I was really embarrassed to have many siblings because in our generation, my friends had only 1 or 2 siblings at most. I was born different. You know, that's how I see in retrospect. And so Japanese girls are very girly. And I was nothing like them at all. They were tiny, small hands, small feet, and I was always like a head taller than everybody else. And in our culture back then in my generation, the smaller you are, if you're a woman or a girl, the better. You know, so that was a problem for me. And so I was very tall and very not girly at all. So I just acted like a boy, I dressed like a boy, but at the same time, I did not know how to talk to boys. You know, I was just a weird, awkward kid. I was very dysfunctional, and my teachers used to send notes to my parents, but I never handed those notes to my parents. So, and my parents were busy. They were raising 5 of us, you know, and they were super busy. They were really good people, but at the same time, my dad, I was crazy about my dad, but I believe he was one of us. He never got sober, but, and he was a gamble addict, a womanizer, all kinds of stuff. You know, I think I take after him. I was born on my dad's birthday, and I was just crazy about him. I still miss him. He passed away 12 years ago. But so he loved me, and my mom too, but I still, in my alcoholic head growing up, like I'm different, and I don't look like my other siblings. That's what I thought, but we all have the same face, you know, but that was my perception, and I was like, maybe I'm not related to them, you know, I was just convinced that I was different. So anyway, I was a miserable child. Seriously, I was dysfunctional, miserable. I have 2 brothers, but my older brother was super, super mean, and he was an overachiever. He was a straight A student, student president, and he was good-looking, super popular with girls and boys, and he was a pitcher, like ace on his high school baseball team, and baseball is huge in Japan, so he was really like, just super popular. So, and then there's me, so he used to tell me, Yuko, you're an embarrassment. I know, thank you. It's like, oh my gosh. So, okay, so he's like, you're an embarrassment, Yuko. You are stupid, no good, ugly, and you will be single for the rest of your life because nobody will want you. And he told me that when I was like 8 or 9, and then I believed him, and thank you, you're so sweet, thank you. But thanks to the program, he lives in LA too, and he and I are so tight, so close. He's the best, sweetest brother, big brother today, and it's all because of AA. There's no doubt. I just had my native birthday, and yesterday he came over, and he's a lawyer, but he's a great chef too, and he brought his homemade cooking, all the feast to my house because he knew that I was busy, and we had a beautiful lunch. So that's how sweet he is, and that's all because of AA. He's a great guy too, but back then he was really, really mean. So I believed him. He was mean, but I also at the same time I worshipped him, and I just believed him. So I'm like, okay, I'm no good, I'm stupid, and I just will be single for the rest of my life because nobody will want me. But as you can imagine, something changed dramatically. When did that happen? When I first took alcohol. For the first time, I was almost 18. I went to this little minor party, and somebody brought a bottle of Suntory whiskey. Did you guys drink Suntory? Yeah, okay. Right on, that's my girl. So Japanese whiskey, good stuff. Okay, so somebody brought a bottle of Suntory whiskey, and then we were still innocent, they were like, hey, let's see what's gonna happen, let's try alcohol. And people drinking alcohol, just have a sip and just cough it up and just hand it to the next person. And the bottle came to me, and I started drinking it, and then I held on to the bottle, and the bottle did not move from here. And I don't know how much I drank, but that was not a wild party at all, and I was the only one who got completely wasted. And so I did a few things. I grabbed somebody's guitar, and I started playing the guitar and singing out loud. I knew how to play the guitar, but I never performed in front of anyone because I was shy. But I did that for the first time. It just felt so good. And next thing I did at the party was that I started telling everyone in front of me their character defects. For the first time in my life. It just felt so good. And then, but the most embarrassing thing I did at the party was I had a huge crush on this boy in my entire high school years. He was moving to Tokyo. We're in Nagoya. He was moving to Tokyo to go to college there, so he was leaving me. So I got on him. I got literally like on him. And I was like, please don't leave me, I love you, And then he's like, who's this girl? And that was my very first drinking episode, and I absolutely fell in love with alcohol. Absolutely fell in love. You guys, the transformation I experienced was astonishing. This really shy, reserved, like depressed and depressing, dreary girl to this, I just became a party girl. I have arrived, you guys, and I went on to college, and alcohol worked so beautifully for me for many years, and life was good. I have arrived, and I partied really hard, and I became a drummer in a rock band in college, and music is my passion. That's what alcohol did for me, really, and today, actually, I'm still a drummer in a rock band. So yeah, that's a gift of sobriety, really. I have a passion for music, and so, but back then I was just so crazy, and then, but I loved playing the drums, so all I did was party, drink alcohol, and practice the drums hours and hours and hours. I was just really intense. Oh, another thing was like I slept with guys. So, okay, so if you're new, I don't do that today. Okay. So I'm committed to one person. Keith and I have been married since the year 2000, and I've been faithful to him for 20-something years, right? And AA is the only place you can brag about being faithful to your spouse, and I love that about AA, right? Yeah. Okay. So But back then I was a slut, really. So, and I loved it. I didn't care about, like I didn't feel like I became pretty or anything at all because I still had a really low self-esteem, but I just didn't care. Alcohol took all my worries and concerns and self-consciousness, and it was beautiful, you guys. And then, fast forward, and then I graduated from college, not in a proper way, but I did. And then I started working for a musical instrument company because, music is my passion. And I also became a workaholic because I loved my work. And I was intense and I worked really hard and I partied really, really hard. I was still in a band, and then I met him. I've met many, many him, back then. But so this time I met him, and this guy, I fell in love because he had a curly hair, and it's unusual. He had a naturally curly hair, which is unusual for a Japanese guy. So like, he's so cool, and then we were in the same band, and he was a great musician too. So we were having fun, and we're sleeping with each other. I wouldn't call it dating, and then I also was sleeping with a bunch of other guys too. And then one day, you guys, he was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And I don't like when people say, I need to talk to you, right? And then like, I don't need to talk. I just want to have fun, But anyway, so like, okay, what is it? And then he was like, I'm moving to America. It's like, no! I was like, I have to find a new boyfriend, But then, thank God I didn't say anything. And next thing he said was, let's get married and move to America. So like, that sounds wonderful. So that's what we did. And we had an alcoholic wedding. And the traditional Japanese wedding, if you're the groom, alcohol is a huge part of our culture. Alcoholism is, there's lots of alcoholism in Japan, and since the pandemic, I've been reaching out to Japan, and I have a bunch of sponsees, and in June, I'm going to Japan with Marilyn, my sponsor, to run a conference there. So if I have time later, I'll get into it. But anyway, so there's lots of alcoholism there. And so back to my crazy wedding. So if you're the groom, you are forced to drink, whether you like it or not. You pass out, puke, that's standard. But if you're the bride, that's, you're not supposed to do that. You have to sit still in a beautiful wedding gown or kimono and just be pretty. But that's not what I did. It's my wedding, so I just drank like fish, and I just made people drink, forced people to drink, and then we're just puking, they're puking, and and it was so much fun. And I play the drums. At my wedding too. And then after the reception, we went bar hopping, and towards the end of the night, I was in and out of blackout. I vaguely remember I was all over some guy who was not my husband. And then we got busted, and then, so my husband's best friend caught us. And so this guy, again, I just don't remember much, but this guy and my husband's best friend got into a fight. So I was like, stop fighting, don't ruin my wedding, And then like next morning I came to, and my new husband did not say a word. He did not give me a tough time. So like, yes, he's my guy. So we just, because I thought he was going to say, like, oh, just forget about this marriage, but he didn't. It's like, okay, let's move to America. So we moved here, but the very first day we moved to LA, when we started our new life, something tragic happened. I think I think you will understand. This guy, I hardly knew. I married, told me to stop drinking. Yeah, right. That was really tragic for me. Because, you guys, I left everything. I just moved like 5,000 miles away. I left everything behind and just came to another country, just all the way here to drink. And how dare he tell me to stop drinking? So I just couldn't believe it. I would have left him right then, but he spoke English, some English. I couldn't speak I didn't speak English, so I was like, okay, I got to use him until I get settled. So that's exactly what I did. And I started drinking behind his back, and it was just really an ugly, ugly marriage. We would fight, and I would hide my, drinking, and it just was not pretty at all. And then I finally started going to school, and then I just actually met some guy who used to live in Japan, so he was fluent in Japanese, so we hit it off. So like, yes, I got this guy, so I don't need my husband. So I left my husband when he was on a business trip, and I moved in with not this guy, but a different guy. And because this guy, my roommate, I thought he was so sweet because he would buy me Asahi Super Dry. He was a drug addict, but he was not an alcoholic. He couldn't even physically drink alcohol, but he would buy me Asahi Super Dry. So I was like, wow, he's so nice. So I moved in with him. And then I found myself a little job because I'm Japanese. We're known for working hard. We're hardworking people. That's how my parents raised me. So I got a little job at a Japanese school, and I started teaching Japanese kids and just being self-supporting, but I wasn't making much money, but still at least. And then I have this little place to live, and then I started partying again, and I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for. I got rid of that guy, who was trying to control my drinking, and I started partying really hard, started sleeping with a bunch of guys again, and then every night I would go to a nightclub, but something weird started happening, you guys. I think you understand. Alcohol stopped working, but I did not know that, so I kept drinking more and more, just to keep, because I was chasing the effect produced by alcohol, but I didn't get the same effect. So I just kept drinking and drinking. And then fast forward, I really got into a major depression. And I was really confused because why? I'm partying, I'm drinking as much as I want to, and nobody's telling me about, anything about my drinking. And I should be happy. Why am I miserable? And I was really, really confused. And then I started isolating myself, and my nice roommate took my money. He left, and I got evicted. I became homeless. I was sleeping on my friends' couches and stuff, and I was really confused. Why is this happening to me? Why are they doing that to me? And then eventually I became suicidal. I tried to kill myself a few times, and then I kept going to work, though, because I'm a responsible Japanese person, so I kept showing up. But what started happening was I started messing up, and I started missing work because I was too hungover, and that's a big no-no for me. But I was still in denial. And then my boss at the little Japanese school, her name is Peggy. I'm still in touch with her, but she really saved my life in a sense that she was not an AA member. She was my Al-Anon. She really, really wanted to help me. So she would pull me aside and say, Yuko, you have to get your life together. I cannot cover up for you anymore. So I was like, what is she talking about? She was like, they're gonna let you go. So like, what? I'm overqualified for this position. They're lucky to have me. That was my attitude. So I kept ignoring her. But then she was like, Yuko, you know Ginny. And Ginny was a substitute teacher at the little school. And Ginny was Peggy's best friend. And then she goes, you know Ginny, she's my best friend. And she's in AA. Here's her number. If you ever want to go to an AA meeting, she'll be happy to take you there. And I was so highly offended, are you implying that I'm an alcoholic? I cannot be an alcoholic, I'm Japanese. That was my thing. So I kept ignoring her. But you guys, I really got into a major depression. And every day, it was like a Groundhog Day. Every morning that my alarm goes off and I'm awake. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm awake. I'm still alive. And that's how I felt. And oh shoot, I have to go to work. So I just change and then just hit the road. I'm on PCH and then just going to work, and I'm like, I don't want to do my day. I'm full of fear. But I would get to work and I would teach with hangover, and then after my day's over, I have to go home. I finished all the making lesson plan for the next day, so I couldn't stay at work. So I would hit the road again and get back on PCH and going back home and feeling devastated again. And I'm like, I don't want to drink. But like when somebody had asked me at that time, like, are you trying to stop drinking or do you want to stop drinking? I would have said, absolutely not. No, no. I mean, alcohol was everything to me, you guys. Everything. And alcohol just got me going, for many years. But in retrospect, I knew that, on my way home from work, I was devastated. And by then, Peggy, my sister-in-law, who I used to drink with, and my psychiatrist, who got me the 20 questions. I didn't talk much about my drinking, but somehow they knew it. And so they all suggest that I go to AA, and I was just, of course, in denial. So I was just really lost, and then I was trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and if I found the cause of my misery, I thought I could fix myself. So I was seeing a psychiatrist, I was seeing a therapist, but I was getting more and more miserable, and I became more and more suicidal. And on my 32nd birthday, again, at that time, I'm a strong-willed person, so I thought I could do it on my own, but obviously I'm an alcoholic, I couldn't do it. I didn't drink for a few days, and I got drunk again, and I repeated that, and I would go back to my psychiatrist, and then so I repeated that, and I just really wanted to get out of there, but because I tried to kill myself, I couldn't. Apparently I was not successful. And then on my 32nd birthday, one last time, I wasn't going to kill myself. That was not my plan, but I thought that I hadn't drunk for a few days, and then I thought, it's my birthday. And then those guys I used, they were all gone because I was a nightmare for them. Trust me, I was really a nightmare for them. So they all were gone, and I was the loneliest creature in this entire world. That's how I felt. That's how I just, I spent my 32nd birthday. And so I thought, okay, I deserve 2 beers, and I'm sober. It doesn't count, 2 beers, So I walked to this, I finally found that little apartment, a single apartment, and so I walked to this sports bar across the street from my apartment complex, meaning to drink 2 beers, and of course I just tried to kill myself that night. I don't remember much about that night, but I got locked up in a psychiatric emergency room in Harvard, UCLA, and so that was a mistake, right? I'm Japanese. I don't belong in a psychiatric ward. So I tried to convince them after I got really sobered up, and then I said, hey, this is a mistake. I'm fine. I'm good. Look at me. I'm good. And then they said, okay, call someone. So I called Peggy, my Al-Anon, of course, and she showed up right away, and so she showed up to pick me up with Ginny. And she brought Ginny, who was an AA member. And Peggy gave me that look you guys are all familiar with. And she gave me that look with pity. And she was like, Yuko, she really, truly loved me. And she really wanted to help me. And she's like, what happened to you? You're a good girl. Why did you do that to yourself? And I couldn't answer any of her questions. All I wanted was just go home and just either kill myself or drink. But Jeannie, I hardly knew her, but she came along with Peggy, and she hugged me, and she said, Yuko, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. And I cried in her arms because somehow I knew that she knew how I felt. And she 12-stepped me that morning. And she didn't promote this program because I wasn't ready for that at all. She didn't say, I'll be your sponsor, or I'll take you to a meeting. No, she didn't. She left me alone. She was such an attraction of this program with her kindness. And so I came home. I went home. They took me to Denny's, and I was like, why am I alive? And then they dropped me off, and then I was like, I'm not an alcoholic, but maybe I can use AA. So I called the central office, and that's really grace. I mean, I'm Japanese. Somebody like me would never, ever, ever call AA. But I called them, and they're like, oh, there's a meeting 2 blocks from where you live tonight. And I said, not tonight, you know, maybe this weekend. And then I started, and then I have to fast forward, but so that Saturday I went to this women's meeting in Culver City, and women are bitching and moaning, and I like this. You have a whole tissue box, Kleenex. It's awesome. Yeah, Debbie needed, too, yeah. So I went to this women's meeting. They were just bitching and moaning, and like, I don't want what you have, that's how I felt. And then the thing is, you guys, I didn't raise my hand as a newcomer because I didn't think I was an alcoholic. So, congratulations for the chip takers and birthday people. Really, these chips, I hate it to take chips. Some gentleman, talked about it. It's not for me, right? Just to celebrate birthdays or taking chips. It's not for me. But back then, oh my gosh, I was like, those cheap plastic chips, it says, we care. And like, no, you don't, I'm like, why are you happy to get these cheap plastic, it's so lame. That's how I felt. So, but anyway, I just couldn't stay sober, you guys. And then this kind lady from that hideous women's meeting just volunteered to sponsor me. And like, what's a sponsor? And then she finally told me. So anyway, so I dumped out all my problems on her. I still couldn't stay sober. And then she said, Yuko, I don't know what to do with you. You cannot stay sober. And she sent me to the Pacific Group. I'm sentenced. I use the word, if you know the Pacific Group, it's in West Los Angeles, and that's my home group today. And Marilyn S. is my sponsor, as I said, and she's in the middle of the Pacific Group, and so am I believe. I have been for the last 29 years. Anyway, back to Patricia, my first sponsor, you should go to this meeting and go to this group. And what's a Pacific Group? And she's like, you'll find out. So, I know. So okay. So I went there, and then they did not leave me alone. They didn't. My gosh, you guys are so kind and so welcoming. So you guys, and then just chop. You're like, Tom, yeah, take commitments. You guys remind me of my home group, and that structure, that's exactly what I needed, which I did not know back then. I hated that group. And the first time I went to the key group, and then I just didn't raise my hand as a newcomer, but I heard this woman named Diva, who's from Lithuania. She has blonde hair, green eyes, and we have nothing in common, but she was speaking just like I'm doing right now, just from the podium, how so many times she failed to kill herself. She tried to hang herself, and she kept failing. And then the entire room were cracking up, with the tragic story. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? And then I caught myself laughing. And I had not laughed for a long time, you guys. That's the first time I really, truly, I became open-minded enough to identify, because I had gone to AA meetings. I couldn't. I was just so close-minded. But when I heard Diva, I was like, she did that? And I was still in denial, though. So I got Lindsay Jackson as my sponsor. Back then, she was probably the toughest female sponsor in the Pacific Group. But somebody pushed me to her. She was this beautiful. She passed away a couple years ago, but she literally saved my life. She's this beautiful blonde hair, blue eyes, and just beautiful, beautiful woman. And she was just in the middle of the Pacific Group, middle of the AA, and she's just, everybody loves her, and she was just a shining example. And I heard her from the podium, and she said, I used to be a slut. And then I go, me too, So, and I decided to ask her to be my sponsor. So she got me through the steps, and then she was tough though, you guys. And I needed her so badly because I just couldn't trust myself, and I just needed her toughness to, but again, but and then I was bitching and moaning every night. I went to 7 meetings a week, and I used to sit all the way in the back, but after I got Lindsay, I had to, sit in the front row, and she was watching me. Sometimes I would fall asleep, and she would just give me a tough time, and so she just got me really involved and really busy. And also every night after the meeting is over, I had all the cleanup commitment at each meeting I went to. And the funny thing is, you guys, they're like 35-minute or 40 minutes main speaker, and I'm in the front row, and the Ohio Street Clubhouse is like really tight. So I'm the speaker, and the first row is here, right here. And then I would sit here, and I'm like this, like my neck is hurting. And then for 38 minutes, I was talking, with my committee, in my head. I heard nothing. And back then, 1996, there were so many great speakers. I don't remember much, really. But that's, in spite of my sickness, I was able to stay sober because I was in the middle of my home group. And the fellowship of AA really carried me through until I really became humble enough and open-minded enough. And I was also an atheist when I got sober, but Lindsay told me to pray, so I started praying really hard. But I felt like I was a fake, like I was just scared of Lindsay, so I started praying. And then, like, this is so stupid, like the third step prayer is so long. But one day, I probably had a couple months, and then I was on my knees, and then like I was super active in the Pacific group, and then I was on my knees and I said, God, if you're there, you've got to help me because AA is not working. I'm doing everything they offer, and my life is unbearable. I am more miserable than ever. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh shoot, I'm talking to God. I'm talking to God, and that's how I found my higher power. 10 minutes? Okay. So that's how I started my journey. And they say don't leave 5 minutes before miracle to newcomers, but I did not know that miracle had happened already. I just did not know. Everybody else knew it. And then, so I'm gonna fast forward. So I was super busy in my home group, and then I don't know, some of you remember Clancy, dear Clancy. He would yell at me, and I was so scared of him. I would go to the yard real quick, let me tell you. So I was new. There's this thing called the yard. We get together at Clancy's yard every Saturday, and I hated it. And women play volleyball, men play softball. At lunchtime, we gather again, men and women, and then he would say like a few funny things in the middle of the circle, and we were all just surrounding him. And then, so that particular day, he was like, "Where's Yuko?" So like, I'm not Yuko, my name is Yuko. I didn't say that, it's my head, And then like, he's like, "Where's Yuko?" And then like, I think it's you, like, I don't know, I'm not Yuko. And so somebody found me, and just because I was hiding, and then they pulled me to Clancy, and then I was in the middle of the circle with Clancy, and he put his arm around me, and then he said, 50-something years ago today, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. And I was like, that was a Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th. So that means I had 17 days, you guys. I had 17 days. And I was like, what? I was like frightened. And I was like, I wasn't born yet, And he said, well, but your grandfather was there, And so So the thing is, you guys, I share this story sometimes, not just to be funny at all, because, and then one time, like I shared this, and after the meeting was over, somebody came to me and somebody said, Yuko, I'm so sorry, Clancy is such a racist. And then like, but the thing is, it's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite. He did that on purpose to include me. It doesn't matter. I thought I'm the one who was closed-minded. I'm the one, like, I'm different because I'm Japanese. You don't get me because I'm Japanese. But when I grew up in Japan, Japan was not nice to me. And I came to another country, and my excuse is that I'm different because I'm Japanese. And he included me. And that's the point of this story. And I just miss him, and he literally saved my life because of the Pacific Group, and he was so kind to me personally. And but I was just terrified. There's many figures in the Pacific Group, who just really terrified me, but it's just such a, I have so many fondest memories. Frank J. and a lot of other, old timers who are gone, they literally saved my life. So I was in the middle of the Pacific Group, and I started working the steps. Lindsay got me through the steps, and then on my, I wasn't talking to my dad because he failed me as a father. I was a dad, I told you, I just loved him so much, but he failed me as a father, so I wasn't talking to him when I got sober, but Lindsay said, no, that's not okay, so I started calling him, and then he got his daughter back, I got my daddy back, and he passed away 12 years ago, and also my mom too. My mom was a very, very sick, untreated Al-Anon, and I couldn't see any of her good qualities. After I got sober and made amends and kept making living amends, I fell in love with my mom. I just absolutely adored her, and she passed away like 9 years ago. And so I was able to make lots of living amends. And so in my first year, Lindsay was tough. I told you she didn't allow me to date because I'm such a slut, right? So, but I did it only because she was so scary. So the night I was turning 1, I was ready to be in a relationship, but that didn't happen. So, and then 2 weeks passed, 3 weeks passed after I turned 1, I was just really just angry, like, where's mine, And then I was crying at the Saturday Night Wave Life meeting, like, Lindsay, this is not what I deserve, And she said something very similar to what my brother said. Yuko, you may be single for the rest of your life, and like, ouch. But she went on, Yuko, you know what, you get rid of your old ideas. Men will not fix you. God loves you, and God wants you to be happy, so you have to find a way to be happy. And I just did not want to hear that. I cried even harder, but that's exactly what I needed to hear. And then I got even busier. I was super busy. Tom talked about commitments, but I was one of those people, newcomers, I needed 5 commitments to feel good. I'm still that way. I'm so intense, And so anyway, I was super busy. And the second year, I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I have to keep doing. And so I got busier. And then I started sponsoring people. I couldn't believe people, started asking me to sponsor them. Like, me? Are you sure? And but I went back to school. I got my master's degree. I started teaching English as a second language, which I still do today. I teach immigrants. They're having a tough time right now, and they're such an inspiration to me. And I fell in love with teaching. And that's when Keith and I started dating, when I was not looking for a relationship. And then we started dating and took time, and then he treated me like I was a princess or something, which I didn't. I didn't like. I just was very uncomfortable, so I was going to dump him before he would find out who I was. And I talked to Lindsay, and then she was like, so you don't love him? Like, are you kidding me? I love him. I'm crazy about him. That's why I have to dump him. And then she said, just enjoy it, goddammit. Those are the exact words she said. I'm like, is it okay to enjoy it? Yes, you can enjoy it. It's okay to enjoy it. It's okay to be happy. And so we got married, and we had a huge Pacific Group wedding, open wedding. My, remember Mean brother, who's nice now, he thought that that was the craziest thing he's ever heard. We sent out like 600 wedding invitations. It's an open wedding. Anybody's open to anybody, and then lots of newcomers came. Lots of newcomers came, and lots of kids, and just sober family, and it was just beautiful. Lindsay was my matron of honor, but that was beautiful. Okay, but. That was not the solution to my alcoholism. And by our first anniversary, this little creature was stuck on my boobs 24 hours 7. It was very inconvenient. Wrap it up? Okay. So sorry, I'm just running out of time. I stayed super busy. I heard Bill C. recently spoke. He's been sober for 40 years or something. He said, I've never lost enthusiasm for AA. And neither have I. I never have. You know, at one point when my kids were little, I just couldn't stay as active as I wanted to. But I still, kept going to 2 meetings and always speaking, always said yes, and always sponsored people. Okay, let me choose what. Okay, my 2 girls. My older one turned out to be one of us, and it was really, really heartbreaking. One of the toughest things we have to go through. 2020, she hit bottom, and we had to kick her out. She was homeless, and she was living in a car. We did not know where she was, and if she, I was afraid to get any, phone calls. But so. One day she was dropped off in front of a house with black guys. She was assaulted by this guy, and so she agreed to get sober. And today, you guys, she has 5.5 years of sobriety. And she's in the middle of the Pacific group. And you guys, my home group people did exactly the same thing, what they did for me, for Kiko. And my identity became Kiko's mom. And I don't mind. I don't mind at all. She's in the middle of, and she gives me and Keith a tough time. Are you going to go to the meeting tonight? So I have to wrap it up. But I'm an alcoholic, you guys, before I'm Japanese. I'm an alcoholic before I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a wife. All those things are bonus. I'm an alcoholic. That's why nothing can come between me and alcohol except for God and AA and all of you. So thank you so much for my life.